Hello everyone, this is Channaka Lakannava, working as Assistant Professor in the Department of ECE, STM-CET, Dharwad. So now today's topic is on Mode 2 programming in timers. So this is a block diagram of Mode 2. So this is a timer, so that's why the crystal frequency is connected to 1 by 12, and when you do crystal frequency divided by 12, you are going to get the timer frequency, and that timer frequency is used to count the value as a timers. So now here C bar T is equal to 0 because you are using timer programming. Suppose when you are using counter programming, C bar T is equal to 1. So this is a 8-bit timer, therefore it allows only values of 0, 0 to FF. So here you can see only TL is connected, after that TF is connected, where TH is connected below TL. So whatever the value which is present in TL, that is going to be count. So that's why the value which is has to present in TL is 8-bit value, that is 0, 0 to FF. It allows only values of 0, 0 to FF to be loaded into the timer register TH. So whatever the value you are going to load, the initial value, that you have to load in TH, and the same value is going to be copied to TL, and that TL value is going to be count when you start the timer. So where in mode 1 you are going to load a 16-bit initial value in TH and TL, but here you have to load the initial value in TH, same value is going to be copied immediately, and when you start the TR, the value which is present in TL, it is going to be count. Okay, and TF is also same timer flag. When maximum value is FF 8-bit, when it rolls over to 0, 0, that time TF becomes 1. So it is in the range of 0, 0 to FF, TF is 0. When it rolls over from FF to 0, 0, then TF becomes 1. So that's why it is an 8-bit timer. Therefore, it allows only values of 0, 0 to FF to be loaded into timer register TH. Okay, whatever the initial value you want to load, you have to load in TH. After TH is loaded with the 8-bit value, the 8051 gives a copy of it to TL. So whatever the initial value you load in the range of 0, 0 to FF, the 8051 gives a copy of it to TL. Okay, same value is going to be copied in TL register. Then the timer must be started. When the value is copied in TL, the timer must be started. So this can be done either by software or hardware. So how we are going to start the timer in software? By using the instruction called set bit, okay, TR X. So when you are using timer 0, you have to use set bit TR 0. When you are using timer 1, set bit TR 1. Okay, so then the timer must be started. So this is done by the instruction I told, that is set bit TR 0 for timer 0 and set bit TR 1 for timer 1. Okay, this is just like a mode 1. Next, after the timer is started, it starts count up by incrementing the TL register. So once the copy is sent to TH to TL, when you start the timer by set bit TR 0 for timer 0, set bit TR 1 for timer 1, then TH value, whatever the TH value will be started counting. So now it start counting up by incrementing the TL register. So it counts until it reaches its limit to FF. Okay, so maximum value is FF. So until it reaches to limit, that is FF, it start counting. So when it is in the 0, 0 to FF, the TF flag will be 0. When it rolls over from FF to 0, 0, then TF flag becomes 1. That's why after the timer is started, it starts to count up by incrementing the TL register. So it counts up until it reaches to its limit, that is to FF. Okay, so when it rolls over from FF to 0, 0, it sets high the TF flag. Okay, so TF is a timer flag. So same thing as in mode 1, whatever the value which rolls over from FF to 0, 0, 0, TF flag becomes 1. Same thing here also, when the value which crosses the limit, means FF rolls over to 0, 0, you are going to see 1 in TF flag, that is timer flag. Okay, if you are using timer 0, so TF flag will be in terms of TF 0, and if you are using timer 1, TF flag will be in terms of TF 1. Okay, so when the TL register rolls over from FF to 0, the TF flag is set. So then when it's set, So at that time what happens, the TL is going to be reloaded automatically with the original value kept in the TH register. So here where in mode 1 programmer has to reload again the initial value. Suppose you want to again to count the new initial value, the programmer has to reload the initial value in TH and TL register. Where in mode 2 auto reload, the programmer does not have to reload the initial value, because the original value already present in TH. Okay, that same value is going to be reload in TL register when TF flag becomes 1. Okay, so when you start the timer, TL value will be start counting. Okay, start incrementing from 0 0 to FF. So once it reach to limit FF, then TF flag will be 1. So once it rolls over from FF to 0 0, TF flag becomes 1. So once it becomes 1, whatever the value which is present in TL register is going to be copied in TL register. Whatever the value which is present in TH register, that is going to be copied in TL register. So here programmer is not loading any initial value, where in mode 1 the programmer has to reload the initial value. So here automatically it is going to be reload whatever the value which is present in TH. So in TH the original value will be there, same value is going to be copied in TL register. Okay, so this makes a mode 2 an auto reload. So in contrast with mode 1, in which the programmer has to reload TH and TL. So this is how the mode 2 programming in timers. So now we'll see the following characteristics and operations of mode 2. Same thing, it is a 8-bit timer, therefore it allows values of 0 0 to FF to be loaded in the TH register. Once TH register value is loaded, same value is going to be loaded, means gives the copy to TL register. Once the TL register gets the copy from TH register, you have to start the timer. Then the timer must be started. So how to start the timer? By using the instruction called set bit TR0 if it is a timer 0, set bit TR1 if it is for timer 1. Okay. So once the timer is started, what happens? It starts counting by incrementing the TL register. So TH register will not count, only TL register value is going to be incrementing, means counts up by incrementing the TL register. So it counts up until it reaches to limit FF. Okay. So when it rolls over from FF to 0 0, it sets high in TF register. So until it is in the limit, the TF will be 0. When it rolls over from FF to 0 0, the TF flag becomes 1. Okay. So next, fourth is when the TL register rolls from FF to 0, then the TF flag becomes 1. Then automatically the original value which is present in TH register, that is going to be reloaded in TL. Okay. So again the same process is going to be repeat. So to repeat the process, we must simply clear the TF flag. So once the TH register, whichever the TH register loaded in TL register, so that time TF will be 1. So what you have to do, again you have to start the same procedure, you have to clear the TF flag. So how to clear this TF flag? By using CLR TF0 if it is a timer 0, CLR TF1 if it is a timer 1. So once you clear the flag, then you can repeat the same process. Okay. This makes mode 2 an auto reload in contrast with mode 1, in which programmer has to reload the TH and TL register. Okay. So same thing, we'll take one program in mode 2. So this is a program statement. Find the frequency of a square wave generated on pin P1.0 in the following program and the smallest frequency achievable in the program. So already the program is given, so you have to find the frequency of the square wave. Okay. Same thing I will show in Keil software also, how we are going to get a frequency and time for this particular program. So here they told to write the program for square wave, then that has to be displayed in port 1.0, means 0th bit of port 1. Okay. Then you are going to get one frequency. Then how you are going to get a smallest frequency? So for that you have to change the initial value in TH0. So first is you have to select which timer and which mode you are going to use. So if you send 0 to in TMOD register, you are going to select a timer 0 and mode 2. Timer 0 and mode 2. Okay, so if you send 0 1, you are going to select timer 0 mode 1. If you send 1 0, you are going to select timer 0 mode 2. If you send 0 2, if you send a 0 2, okay, there are so many values to select the timer and modes. If you send 0 1 in TMOD register, you are going to select timer 0 mode 1. If you send 1 0, you are going to select timer 1 mode 1. So if you send 0 2, you are going to select a timer 0 mode 2. If you send 2 0, you are going to select a timer 1 mode 2. Okay, how you are going to choose this value? You know the TMOD register, which is of 8-bit. So put the value in that. So you will get the values which has to be selected: mode 1, mode 2, timer 0, mode timer 1. Okay, so after selecting timer 0 mode 2, you have to load the value in TH. So here no need to load value in TL, because whatever the value you loaded in TH, that is going to be copy in TL. So I will select a 05 as a value that I will load in TH0. So for that, the instruction is move TH0 comma #05. After that, they told to generate a square wave in P1.0. So for that, I will go for toggling, and I am going to use a CPL for toggling. So that's why the instruction is CPL P1.0. Okay. Then you can write a program using subroutine or without subroutine. So this is a program with subroutine. So whenever I need a timer program, I am going to call in main program. So for that, I used a call, that is A stands for absolute call, delay. So this is a delay label, where in this delay I wrote the timer program. Okay. So next, after this, I want to start again the same process. Then I go for sjump here. So that's a short jump. So short jump you can use in the same program. So short jump here means again the value is loaded, then again it's going to generate a square wave, again it will start the timer, same thing it will happen. Okay. So what is a program written in the delay? So delay is for starting the timer, monitoring the TF flag, then clearing the TF flag, then return to the main program. So now we have to start the timer. So I am using timer 0 here. So the instruction is set bit B TR0. After that, I have to monitor TF0, so until it becomes 1. So until it becomes 1, it will be in the same loop again. So once it becomes 1, then it is understood that the value which is present in TL, that is F, it is rolls over, means FF is roll over to 0 0. So once that time the TF flag becomes 1. Once the TL value FF becomes 0 0, then TF flag becomes 1. So once it becomes 1, the whatever the value, original value which is present in TH, that is going to be reloaded in TL. New value is going to be reloaded in TL. Again you want to start the same procedure, you have to clear the TF flag. Okay. Then you wrote in terms of subroutine, you have to return to the main program. Okay. So this is a program using subroutine. So this is without subroutine. So first you have to load the TMOD register. So indicating which timer, that is timer 0 or timer 1, and which mode you are going to select. Okay. So now I discussed about mode 2. So I have to choose for mode 2 only. After putting the value in TMOD register, then you have to load the initial value in TH register. Same thing is going to be copied in TL register. So after that, start the timer. So here it is without a subroutine. So I will not use a call or sjump. So directly I will start the timer. So by using TR0, then I will monitor the TF flag until it becomes 1. It will be in the same loop. When it becomes 1, it is going to clear that flag. So again you want to repeat the same procedure, you have to go to step 4. Okay. So for that, this is a program. So 02 means it is going to select a timer 0 mode 2. That value I am going to move in TMOD register. Then initial value I took it as 5. You can take any value in the range of 00 to FF. So that value I am going to load in TH register, and same value is going to be copied in TL register. Then I go for toggling. So I am going to generate a square wave in P1.0. Next, I will start the timer by using the instruction called set bit TR0. So this is a set bit TR0. Then I will monitor the TF flag until it becomes 1. So once it becomes 1, the value which is present in TH0, that is going to be reloaded in TL as a new value. Then after that, to start the same process, you have to clear the timer flag. So this is an instruction to clear the timer flag, that is CLR TF0. Then you want to do the same process again, go for SJump here. So here means again the value is loaded, then again toggling, then start the timer, same thing it will do, then end. So for this given program, you have to calculate what is the frequency. So here the count is given 5. So this you have to do in decimal or hex form. So this is a calculation which I done in terms of decimal form. So FF decimal value is 256. Okay. So I will subtract 256 minus the initial count. Then I will multiply with 1.085 microsecond, because this is a time period for crystal frequency 11.0859 megahertz. So for that, this is a time period I got. So I will multiply this time period with this value. So I am going to get 272.33 microsecond. So this is a time for half a pulse width, okay, for 50% duty cycle. So you want to get a time for entire period, then multiply with 2. Okay, so you are going to get 544.67 microsecond, and the frequency, so 1 divided by this T, you are going to get the frequency 1.83597 kilohertz. So this is how you are going to calculate the frequency by using the time delay, and how to calculate time delay by using the initial count. Okay, so next we'll see. So this is a frequency. Okay, this is a program is given. So same program, subroutine program, but here they used one count, that is move R5 comma hash 250. Okay, so this, why this count is used, you want to get a multiple delay count. Same thing I explained in mode 1. So if you want a multiple delay count, so make use of a counter. Okay, so here I used R5 as a counter. So move R5 comma hash 250. So this is a decimal value. So this many times the delay is going to be happen. So multiple delays for same program, you want a multiple delay, then go for initializing the count. Okay, so same thing. So 0 to is moved in T mode, so it is going to select timer 0, mode 2, that is 8-bit auto reload. Then initial count here they moved is 0, 0 in TH. Okay, so then they initialize one counter by using R5 register, say 250. So this is a decimal value. So this is introduced to get the multiple delay count. Okay, if you don't want multiple delay count, you just discard this instruction, then remaining program will be same. Okay. After that, they go for toggling in P1.0, then SJump again. So in the subroutine program, they started the timer, then they monitor the TF flag, then they clear the timer. So if you want to clear the timer, you can do, otherwise no need. Okay, so this instruction, if you write, it will not do any difference. If you don't write it, again no difference will be there. Okay, so because it is a auto reload, so automatically the original value which is present in the TH register, that is going to be copied in TL. So after when the copy is copied in TL register, the timer will not start until you clear the TF0. Okay, so until you clear the TF0, timer is not going to be start. So that's why if you write this instruction, it does not matter. If you don't write, again it does not matter. It's left to you. Then after that, when it counts from 00 to FF, it is considered as one count. Okay, so that's why they go for decrementing that R5 value. So 250 becomes 249, so it is decremented by 1. Then again it will go to delay, again it will start. So 250 times it is going to count from 00 to FF. You want to get a multiple delay count. So for that, so this is a value. So 250 is a count value, multiply with maximum value of FF into 1.085 microsecond. So into 2. For entire period, you are going to get 138.88 millisecond. So frequency is 72 hertz. So ultimately the frequency is going to be decrease if you go for multiple time delay. So if you see the previous one, so the frequency is kilohertz. Okay, frequency is going to be increase. So this is a program where you not use the multiple delay. So this is a program where you use the multiple delay count. Okay. So next, when you are writing the program, whatever the value are loading in TH or TL register, so that value, it may be a hex value, it may be a decimal value, or it may be a negative value. Okay. So this is some instructions where the value is loaded in terms of negative. Okay. So assuming that we are programming the timer for mode 2, find the value in hex loaded into the TH of each of the following cases. So first instruction is move TH1 comma hash minus 200. So if you write this instruction, it is a correct instruction. Okay, you can declare in terms of hex value, you can declare in terms of decimal value, you can declare in terms of negative value. If you declare in terms of hex value, so automatically that hex value is going to be taken. So if you declare in terms of decimal value, that decimal value will be converted into hex, then that hex value is taken. If you declare in terms of negative, it is going to take a 2's complement of that negative value. Okay, so that will be in terms of hex form, so that hex value is going to be taken. Okay, so when you execute this instruction, move th1 comma hash to minus 200. So when you calculate the minus 200 is a decimal value, when you calculate the 2's complement of that, you are going to get 38H. Same thing for minus 60, the 2's complement, that is 64. Same thing for minus 48, that is D0, minus 12, F4, minus 3, Ft. Okay, so whatever the value you are going to load in the decimal form, that too in negative form, the 2's complement of that is going to be calculated, and that value is going to be used by 8051. Okay, so these are the value. So you can write in terms of decimal also. So move th comma hash 60 means it is nothing but move th comma hash 0c4. Move th1 comma hash minus 3 means it is nothing but move th1 comma hash 0fd. Okay, same thing for minus 12 and minus 48. So you can use this Windows scientific calculator to verify the result provided by the assembler. In Windows calculator, select decimal and enter 200. Okay, you know this, how to calculate the how to convert hex to decimal and decimal to hex. Okay, so go to decimal, type 200, don't type minus. Okay, then select the hex, then plus or minus to get the th value. Remember that we only use the right 2 digits and ignore the rest since our data is 8-bit. Okay, once the value get, suppose it is a 12-bit or 16-bit or 8-bit. So 8-bit is no problem. If you get 12-bit, then choose only use the right 2 digits and ignore the rest. Okay, since it is a 8-bit data. So this is how you are going to use a negative value in a register. Okay, so thank you.